So what about Silicon Valley versus other parts of the United States? It seems as if all the big deals are coming out of Silicon Valley. Coinbase, I mentioned, Snowflake, Palantir. These are very successful IPOs that were based out of Silicon Valley firms, where they put the initial money in. What about Austin, Boston, New York City? Are they able to catch up with you, or Silicon Valley so far ahead that nobody can catch up?
Yeah, so I think this is a real pre-COVID, post-COVID thing that's happening right now. So pre-COVID, Silicon Valley had a very powerful lock, in particular on the talent. I think COVID, in the post-COVID world, that looks like it's changing pretty dramatically because we've all gotten just so much more used to this whole idea of remote work and distributed companies. And so now you see a lot more motion activity happening outside the Valley. And by the way, not just in other cities, right? It's possible that there's a new Silicon Valley in Austin or Miami or whatever. It's also possible Silicon Valley, we like to say, just moves to the cloud, right? It's also possible these companies kind of shift to running online. And maybe they run without a central location. So our company, Coinbase, as an example, just went public without a headquarters address. Right, they literally declare they took the headquarters address out of their S1 when they went public to make the point that it's now a virtual company, not primarily a physically instantiated company.
So let's talk about the rest of the world for a moment. What about China and India? Are they great potential rivals of Silicon Valley, or they're not really going to be able to compete with what you do?
Yeah, no, and I think they're doing very well. You know, China's been very impressive for the last 20 years or so. They've done very well. You know, like anybody, they have their own challenges. Like, you know, they don't have a perfect system either. So they have their own issues. India has a whole bunch of companies that are doing really well. They're scaling. I would say both of those countries have very vibrant ecosystems with a lot of very talented people.
Do you invest there?
We don't invest as much there. This is another pre-COVID, post-COVID thing. We historically viewed venture capital as sort of a craft business where you're very hands-on with people who you get to know very well and you partner with for a very long time. And so in the past, we were very worried about trying to do that kind of remotely. But again, like in this new world, we have to revisit that assumption because maybe remote is the default. And I think that's one of the big open questions for how this whole industry is going to work.